Welcome to the LANCave, where we're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen. That's so pretty. So pretty.
Hello.
So someone got the SWOLED. Someone got it. I'm still waiting to get mine.
I like how every time on this show now that I'm like, I'm not gonna buy that. I'm not gonna buy a Series X. I bought a Series X. I'm not gonna buy a SWOLED. I bought it. I'm not gonna buy a Steam Deck. I pre-ordered it.
What's that? I'm not gonna do it, girl. I'm not gonna do it. I did it.
There's this.
It's exactly what it is.
There's this children's book that my kid has, and its running theme is, "Can you do it? I can do it." And so now that's a running joke in my house. Can you buy it? I can buy it. Because I mean, you see all this stuff that since the last time that I was on the show, we got some shelving units put in here to display a little bit more of the games behind me. I rearranged some things, tried to clean it up a little bit. At least you can now see my friend's Lego set pretty clearly.
There we go. Zooming in a little bit. Yeah.
There's still some stuff going on, but it looks. I had to do a little something. I put a little shelf above my porthole window here as well. Me and my floating shelves, man.
There's a lot of good stuff going on over there, though. But a lot of cool stuff. The thing is, we get a lot of cool stuff. Sorry, I'm fixing your camera while I'm talking. But once you hit this, I know. Once you hit this point where you're like, okay, you got some kind of extra spending money, you can easily grab stuff and be like, all right, now where do I even put this? So the shelves.
That's like every video game that I buy these days. I just ordered Guardians of the Galaxy, the Steelbook one, because I'm supporting Eidos Montreal because they got an 8, and I was like, okay, if this game's an 8, I'll buy it. It's got a Steelbook. They went down to a 32-hour work week. You gotta throw that. Respect. I don't know when I'm gonna play it.
That's respect, though. I mean, when I saw that, I'm like, I want to give them money just for that.
Exactly.
Just to be like, I'm taking care of my people, because that's really important. I mean, it's been important historically, and I feel like we could go on a political thing about this, but it's like the people are making money for these giant corporations, so you got to treat your people well, who are continuing to get you that business. There are companies like one that you, for example, work for, one that I work for. Thankfully, we're in positions where our companies actually care about us. And there's others that are Costco and others that are continuing to be no, we're gonna keep paying our people a decent wage and lose money on those hot dogs. Do you go to Costco? I can't remember.
No? It's too much effort for me, man. If there was one within a couple miles, but I have a Kroger and a Walmart and a neighborhood Walmart all within 2 miles of my house. Gotcha. And so it's kind of and then whenever I think about what I would do there, I'm like, what am I going to go buy 500 rolls of toilet paper? So that's where Prime comes into play.
Yeah, I get it on that. I mean, I don't have Prime here.
Not that Prime treats their people well, but
yeah, I'd say Prime groceries and all that stuff isn't available here. So there are things I can get, and but any of the stuff where I can't buy paper towels and that sort of thing here.
I don't buy any of the grocery, the actual Amazon grocery, but I do the subscribe and save.
Yeah,
through Amazon.
Do that on some
and
things.
We do toilet paper, paper towels, deodorant, dog food, all those things where it's if you subscribe to this, you get 5% off. And then we get 5% back on that Amazon credit card.
Man, I need to do that. I definitely need to do that with that.
So you can't get necessarily fresh groceries, but you would definitely be able to get your paper goods, your toiletries. I got I have every 6 months I get a new thing of dishwasher detergent, stuff like that. So I don't even think about it, and it just shows up on my door. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
There are certain things like that I could probably put some foresight into and then not have to think about it. It wouldn't be a bad idea. I'd also like to have a back stock, for things like you mentioned, toilet paper and other things. Not that I hoard, but it's I don't want to be on the last 2 rolls when I get my next, when I go get toilet paper, just in case. So I'm always like that, anyways. But anyways, you didn't come here to listen to us talk about toilet paper. You came here to talk about nerdy stuff. Listen to us talk about nerdy stuff. Hang out with us in the chat. We're here live every Wednesday, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. Hang out in the chat like Doghouse Gaming, hanging out with us and chilling. We haven't been able to do a show together in a couple weeks. It's kind of throwing it off.
We're slacking.
We took vacations. It was not planned that way, but I had a work-ish vacation. You had a vacation with the lady, and we didn't plan it, but it just kind of happened back to back. Still got the show out there, so happy about that. But what have you been doing?
Appreciate people hanging around with my lo-fi streams, as I'm going to call them, because I just log into Restream and go the basic route. Yeah. So if you did happen to tune into those, I do appreciate it. Yeah. Honestly, I took my Switch with me on vacation, but this was the first vacation away from my child. So the Switch did not get played. So I played a little Bayonetta the night before, and as soon as I got my SWOLED, I didn't have Metroid Prime yet, and I went through the very annoying process, Nintendo, of transferring my games. I can't believe it, dude, that we've talked so much about hard drives in the past year and how I can unplug the PS4 hard drive from my PS5, plug it into my PS4 Pro, and play my PS4 games. I can unplug my Xbox Series X drive and plug it into my Xbox One and play my Xbox One games. It's the dumbest thing on earth that I cannot take my little SD card out of my Switch, reauthorize my brand new Switch. No, you have to download every single game. So I didn't do that. What I did is I went through and I was like, what have I not played? Bayonetta. I never played it. I bought it 2 years ago. So I switched out my 12 for 12. I was going to be playing Bioshock, but I just started playing Bayonetta because I'm like, I gotta play something on this SWOLED screen. It looks good. I don't know if you know this about the SWOLED. It has a graphics setting. There is a switch on it, similar to what we've talked about with TVs, where it kind of leaves on that, that switch that we've talked about with TVs where you turn that off.
The smoothing interpolation.
So the SWOLED also has a smoothing switch.
And
you want to make sure whenever you're looking up games to play for it, you want to know, because you can just go toggle it on and off in the settings, if it's good for it. And I will tell you, on old games, it's good for it. So on things that are pixel, or on things where like Bayonetta, where it's like kind of a remaster, it smooths it out pretty well. But if you're playing anime-ish, if you're playing some Breath of the Wild, some Metroid, Dread, things like that, you're going to notice it pop a little bit more. But there's some games where it's going to look straight up bad. And so if you're ever like, why does this game look off? Go toggle that in your SWOLED. So I've never played Bayonetta before. It's Devil May Cry for sure. It's very Devil May Cry. I do like the environment. I think it's inventive because you're playing it on Switch, so you got 1 and 2, correct? I do have 1 and 2. Yeah.
Sorry, my dog just came in. The dog just pushed his way into the office. 1 and 2. It's cool because 2 didn't get enough love. 2 is really good. It didn't get enough love. Let me get the dog out of here real quick because I think you can hear him walking around. Hold up.
Yeah, and so I'm playing through 1. I did like that what you're seeing on screen now, if you're seeing the video, is that it actually did add some Nintendo costumes, and so it actually gave you Link's costume by default. So I'm rolling through with Bayonetta in Link's costume, which is
that's funny.
It's pretty cool. And then my favorite part is you unlock this sword, I think in like chapter 2 or chapter 3, and you're swinging around the Master Sword after that. So before the hilt is just on your back, but then when you unlock the sword, it's now the Master Sword that you're swinging around, which is pretty funny. So knowing nothing about the series whatsoever, I'm having a good time. It's definitely a game where you can just kind of turn your brain off and go through the level. There is some story to it. I'm not paying attention to it at all. So I'm just paying attention to the arcade fights and having a good time. I do die a lot. I'm dying way more than I expected to die. So,
really? Okay. I mean, it. I would say I wouldn't put it on the level of like a Soulsborne. I mean, there is challenging like dodging and stuff. I would say this kind of has more of a shmup kind of feel to it. At least the first one did, like with the stuff coming at you. And well, if you're ignoring the story, there is some. It's interesting. At least I think I talked about it on the show
Yeah.
before. Like it's like the reverse where you're fighting angels. Like these are angels, and they're not 100%, but a lot of it is inspired by like the biblical descriptions of what an angel's supposed to look like, and then of course artists, they can go from there. Which I thought was interesting concept to be like these things don't look like like we as modern Americans think angels look, which I thought was an interesting
Right.
concept. But I agree, it's more about the action.
I will say it has been a little tough playing on my Swella because I got spoiled using my Zen grip, and the Switch OLED is just barely wider
It's just
than the
sad.
Switch. It's like I'm talking like centimeters wider than the OG Switch, and so you can kind of slide it in there, but I didn't want to hurt my new baby. So Zen Grip already did put out one for pre-order, and I did go ahead and order it. But I'm back to like where I don't have child hands gripping these Joy Cons. I did consider the ones
cramping?
I did consider the ones that we talked about that are like the ergo ones, and I do have a lot of people that swear by them. But I don't want to lose my rumble, man. It's a stupid thing to be like, I'm not gonna do it. I don't get my rumble, but I don't get my rumble. Like I want all the features of my Joy-Con.
Well, I mean, I honestly,
except for drift. I don't want the drift.
I don't want drift. But like honestly, the rumble for me, and I talked about this in our group chat that we're in. Like the rumble for me, I play a lot of Switch in like with the volume completely down. I think a lot of people do when they live with other people and they don't want to be antisocial.
Sure.
Where it's like, let's just mute this and I can play it whenever. So I play the Switch. I would say the majority of the time I'm playing in silent. So I don't have an indicator of getting hit. Like if my character's taking damage, rumble's kind of an indicator that is universal now. I know something's happening. I got rumble going on. So taking that out it wouldn't just be like a comfort thing for me. It would be like I can't play the way I want to play. I would then have to use headphones or Bluetooth, which isn't very easy on the Switch. It works, but it's not that great. I'd have to resort to that, and then I'd feel like I'm not paying attention to things around me. But that's me. I started playing Death Stranding, by the way. Put that up in our
director's cut, I'm guessing.
Director's cut. Yep. So I played
got that sweet $10 upgrade. Thanks, Kojima, for not overpricing it. No, I'm saying thanks. Don't overprice it like they did for Ghost.
For $10, they're not only it's not only textures, but they did add things to the game. They I don't know all the details on what they did, but they added content. They made some things essentially better. There's some quality of life stuff that got updated, so it's not just we gave you better textures and that's it. So I played, I want to say 2 hours of this before, which is nothing in a Kojima game. So I'm now like 7 hours in, and 7 hours into this game, you're still basically in tutorial mode, because 7 hours in, you're still getting missions where it's like, hey, there's a new thing. Here's a new concept. Let me show you this. I plan on completing the game. I'm not going to platinum it or anything, but it's interesting. It's very weird. If you like Kojima, you'll like this.
Did you beat it the first time?
No, I didn't beat it. No, I played 2 hours of it. I played this with the wife. I started playing it, and she was like, "Oh, this is really cool." She was frustrated by the controls, but she loved the music and the ambiance. And then we didn't pick it up again. And it was on my backlog of games where I'm like, I will play this when the wife is ready. And that didn't happen because she wasn't in the mood for that game. Like, she'll be in the mood for other things, which I, respect, but she wasn't in the mood for that game, so the game sat. So now I'm like, you know what, I'm picking it up. She came in earlier today and saw me playing it. She was like, yeah, I remember this. It looks cool. I'm like, yeah, it does. Do you want to sit down? I will say that the gameplay is frustrating. I'm playing it. It's kind of the opposite of what you're doing with Bayonetta. I'm getting through the gameplay. The gameplay is not bad, but it can be frustrating. I'm getting through that because of the experience and the overall story. it's a walking sim with frustration because you've got so much stuff on your back that you gotta like stabilize, and like if you fall in the river, then you're then like floating and all your packages like leave. It's that part gets frustrating, but I'm liking it.
That's good. Yeah, I bought the game, the first, or I mean, like the non-director's cut. I bought it from GameStop for like $18, even though I never had an intention of playing it before, but simply because they offered a reasonable upgrade price of $10 to a PS5 version. And so that's probably going to be one of those 2022 games that I hope to get to, even though spring 2022 just gets rougher. I feel like every single week, like every time something's like, oh, we're going to come out in spring 2022. And now I got Robert the first time. I was like, oh, nothing's coming out then. And he's like, really? I thought there was a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, it's because there is. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I've got a list of games that I want to play. Sorry, a list of games that I'll buy if they go on sale, if it's Black Friday. I just don't have time to play all the games that I want to play, and I know that's going to get even worse next year. I mean, we had some delays, which I'm fine with. Elden Ring got delayed a month, so now it's in February. So that gives me a little bit of time in January, I guess, because once Elden Ring comes out, that game is going to consume me. There are a few games that would do that, like Breath of the Wild 2. Whenever that comes out, that's what I'm playing. Like, it's not even a choice at that point.
I made this thing where I was like, I mentioned it in the chat because I've just been buying games again. Like, I was off it during the summer. I was doing pretty well about buying stuff, and then Skyward Sword came out, which I did play all the way through. So I did buy that game and immediately play it. Shocking, right? I bought a Zelda game and played it immediately. But after that, though, what's the website that I've been buying from? The Gamefly. They've been putting all these baller used sales, and we've talked about this previously. Generally speaking, I don't like buying used games, but I've been buying games from the giant companies. So I bought Mass Effect Legendary Edition for $27. I bought Watch Dogs Legion for $8. I bought I'm buying these EA, Ubisoft, like these things where I'm like, I don't necessarily care about. It's not something that I necessarily care about giving you all my money for. And I've just been kind of on a roll. But then Guardians of the Galaxy comes out from a cool company, like we mentioned at the top of the show, where it's like, we're giving you a 32-hour work week. We're doing another Marvel's game, which I don't know if, I don't think they're in the same universe as like Spider-Man and so on, but
it's not.
This is now.
Don't believe so. Yeah,
we've had Marvel's Spider-Man, we've had Marvel's Miles Morales, we've had Marvel's Avenger, and now we're getting Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, it really feels like Marvel is going hard, dude, and they want you. I think originally we talked about it. The first trailer for this game looked like not good, and they polished it up and got an 8, and I did not expect an 8. I thought it was going to be like a 5 or 6 at best. Like 6 was like the ceiling for me, and then Eidos goes and takes care of their employees and puts out an 8. Marvel's going hard, man. It's not just, okay, Avengers kind of flopped, but Spider-Man and Miles didn't. We're getting another Spider-Man. We're getting Wolverine. Like, what else? What do you want? What's your Marvel's game that you want right now?
I mean, honestly, we're getting Wolverine, so he's one of my boys. I mean, there's things that I would
Iron
like
Man
to
VR.
see.
We got Marvel's Iron Man VR. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. I mean, a good Iron Man game would be good. Honestly, I'm ecstatic that the teaser that we got for Spider-Man 2, the Marvel's Spider-Man. What's the subtitle on that? I can't remember the name. Marvel
Did they
Spider-Man.
actually subtitle it?
I thought, was it just Spider-Man 2? I thought maybe I'm mixing up things. Basically, we got the teaser. Yeah, we got the teaser of that. We got Wolverine. I mean, honestly, those are two.
Yeah, it just says Spider-Man 2, so I don't think they've subtitled it. They might at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I would like the ones that I'm thinking I would like to see. I don't know if they'd be able to pull off. I mean, Wakanda would be good. I know we're getting some of that with with the Marvel Avengers. I mean, a Black Panther one would be nice. I love Fantastic Four. I'd love to see something like that.
Mm.
But I think
Similar to
there's a
this,
slim chance.
like
Yeah,
if Eidos did that with like
similar to that, where it's like, give me Fantastic Four, where it's the majority of it is them doing this stuff, less about them being in like New York, and more of like all the crazy stuff that they do, because Eidos could do a really good job, in my opinion, on that. Your video keeps clipping out, by the way. I don't know if you're
my wife's at home doing work too, so it could be that we're using some bandwidth, but as long as you can still hear me.
I can hear you, you can hear me, so we're good. But yeah, just making sure. No, I think that I would like to see something like that. I don't know if other people would buy it. That's really kind of what it gets to, like, where we haven't had Fantastic Four successful in the theaters. And I think that, like, much like Guardians of the Galaxy, Fantastic Four, you have to do it the right way to get it right for the tone. I don't want it to be the tone of Guardians, but it has a certain tone that has not been able to be matched in cinema. Video games may be able to do it, because then you could get some stuff with like Silver Surfer, Galactus. You could bring Kang in there, now that we're getting a little bit of that in the MCU, or whatever we're calling the TV. I guess the TV stuff is still the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I'd say that. Honestly, I'm so happy with Spider-Man and Wolverine that I'm like, I'm good. Give me those things.
I think anybody expecting Spider-Man sales numbers is out of their mind. Like, we're talking, Spider-Man's one of the best-selling games on PS4. I think at, I want to say like 15 million copies, somewhere in there. It's not going to sell 15 million copies, but if it sold 5 million copies, I think we're looking at something. There's a dude that I love to follow on Twitter. His name is Benji Sales. Cool dude. He's actually just a retail worker who just really likes following the video game industry and doing sales. And this game came out 2 days ago, so we're probably going to know the UK numbers next week. I should try and follow that just to see what it is, because if this sells, I think Avengers, even though it bombed for Square Enix, I still think it sold copies. It was just that it didn't make back its money, and so that's a thing as well. I could go for a cool Thor game where Thor's not on Earth, like a cool Asgardian, like, deal with the ice trolls, deal with Loki. Like, that would be a cool game. I could see like a spy game with like Shield, with like Romanoff and Clint, or just like an Agents of, probably not Agents of Shield. They probably can't go like that, but it'd be cool to have like a stealth game with them too, since they were partners. I think more obscure, I think, since they're making a She-Hulk movie, like a She-Hulk thing would be cool. The only problem with Hulk is that games always do Hulk wrong, because it's just, he's so powerful, and it's like, just like they did with the Avengers too, where it's like, I'm the Hulk and you're gonna kill me? Like, what? Like,
I mean, like, there's a Sega Hulk game. Yeah, there's a Sega Hulk game that I really liked back in the day. It's frustrating and difficult. It's like, why are these little things hurting Hulk? Like, you have to make it challenging, and there are ways to do that. Similarly, there's really bad Superman games that you're like, I don't understand why bullets are hurting me. I know there's an in-game reason for that on Superman 64, but I don't care. Like, I hate that for the character.
Well, I mean, that game sucks anyways.
It's so bad. The whole plot device, if it's like, oh no, this is Lex Luthor's like simulation. I'm like, I don't care if it's a simulation. Superman should not be taking damage like that. Like, oh, I got hit by a car. Okay, the car's broken. Like, it's Superman. So yeah. Similarly, Hulk would be really cool. Hulk, She-Hulk. I'd love to see a team up on that, because you can do both. I mean,
There's so many that a Cap game also. Like, I mean, not to just go with like the most prominent figures and everything, but like, how cool would like a World War II Cap game be, or we could do After the Ice too, but like, do the video game version of like Winter Soldier and stuff. Like, there's a lot of cool opportunities out there, and it seems like Disney is willing to branch out. And similarly with Star Wars, right? It looked like they were just going to go with EA. That proved to not be a great relationship, although Fallen Order is an excellent game because Respawn is awesome. But they were like, no, let's just start. But who wants to make something? Okay, we're getting KOTOR remakes. So they're like, we got Insomniac over here making Spider-Man games and a Wolverine game. We got Eidos making this. We got Square, who made Avengers? It wasn't Eidos Montreal, was it?
I thought it was. The Avengers PS4. I thought it was.
Was it Eidos?
I thought it was.
Crystal Dynamics. It was Crystal Dynamics.
Oh, okay, good. I was going to say, like,
they made a single player company make a multiplayer game. That was the problem. And so you got to get the right people. But I think that this should, like, Disney's sitting on so much cool IP. They got Indiana Jones over at Xbox with Machine Games making a Indiana Jones game. I think we're in for this era where our childhood is just going to feel just like it did 10 years ago when the MCU came out. We're now we're getting into the video game space. Not that there's not a lot of good comic book video games of like the 90s and the early aughts. Like, there's not great ones, but they're all brawlers. And this feels more narrative.
I think
so far, anyway.
Yeah, we're able to pull off narrative games in a way that where 15 years ago or so, if you had a narrative game, it was really bad. Like, there was always something. It was like either really good gameplay and okay graphics and okay story. Or like, it never was like a complete package. And I feel like we're able to get games that are more more complete when it comes to gameplay, story, all of that. Now, I agree. There was a Cap game on PlayStation 3 that I did not like.
I know that.
Yeah, there's some Wolverine games. There's like PlayStation 2 Wolverine game that was mediocre.
I actually heard that was like the one that was based on the movie was surprisingly good.
Based on the Wolverine Origins movie. Yeah, it's better than.
I heard the game was better than the movie.
It is. It's still like there's still frustrating parts of it, but yeah, the game is considerably better than the movie. And by the way, speaking of getting the right people to do a game, God of War was getting that PC port that we were talking about, but the port is not being done by Sony. So of course, people are like saying, "Oh, why?" Well, Sony outsources that stuff. We talked about Blue Point doing Demon Souls and doing some great work. So this is being outsourced to a Jetpack Interactive. I will say I didn't see a complete game that they'd worked on. By the way, maybe I missed it when trying to skim. They've done a lot of work. Along with other companies.
Plants vs. Zombie Garden Warfare 2 they worked on. I'm not saying it's their game.
Yeah.
Unbound, which I don't... That's an Amazon game, isn't it?
Yeah. And then, I see a lot of like, oh, we helped in this, we helped that. Like, it could have been that they were brought in to help to avoid crunch or help with UI. They did some work with Dark Souls, with the PC port of that, but it wasn't the whole port being done by them. So, we'll see how they do with that. If Sony chose them, I mean, I feel like Sony's going to put their faith in the right team. So hopefully it does all right with the port.
I was trying to figure out who did Horizon's PC port, and I don't know who it was. I was trying to figure out it may have been Guerrilla, but I thought that I guess Guerrilla had a hand in the Horizon one, so maybe they're like, why would we do that to Santa Monica? Santa Monica's working on the sequel, and as far as I know, it still hasn't been announced yet, but Santa Monica's also working on another game that is still unannounced. And we still have no idea what game that is, and so I don't know if Sony necessarily trusts them, although they probably do. I don't think Sony cares. It's probably cheaper to hire this third-party company than have their first-party people do this game, and PC people are just going to mod it anyway. Like, I'm happy that the PC nerds finally get to play a
Touche.
game like this
Yeah.
if they've been doing it. But like, if it's broken, somebody will fix it. This is just, we put out this game literally 4 years ago, and you're gonna pay full price for it, where I can play it for free on PS5 right now because it comes with the PlayStation collection.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad it's coming to PC players, but you're exactly right. It's going to be modded like crazy. That's that community.
I think the first tweet I saw on it was like, "So when can we put Thomas the Tank Engine in God of War?"
Yeah, basically.
For those who don't know, that's a very famous thing that modders do. It's Thomas the Tank Engine makes lots of appearances. Shrek makes a lot of appearances in the modding community. So I already foresee that happening, like one of the bosses being Thomas or something like that. And I think actually Shrek probably fits relatively well. So
I'd love to see Shrek as Kratos, or all enemies are Thomas the Tank Engine. Like all of them, every single enemy is Thomas the Tank Engine. It could be funny. I mean, I get it. They're not having to spend that much money on it. Hopefully, like as long as it works and it's stable, then everything else is going to be modded. I'm not saying I'm an expert in porting from console to PC, but I'd imagine at this point, if you're taking the base, the PS4 game, this is a 4-year-old game. They know the ins and outs of that, and they know the ins and outs of porting from a PS4 to a PC. Hopefully it's good, but yeah, I agree. Like I got it for free. I already owned it, but it's part of the PlayStation 5 collection, or PlayStation collection, when I got my PS5. Still a great game. I'm glad people are getting to play it. And then Ghost of Tsushima will be on PC. Was it next year, I think?
Did they announce Ghost for?
They announced Ghost. I didn't think they announced I thought they may have announced the date, but I know they announced Ghost of Tsushima. I have a guy that I was doesn't work with my company, but one of my partners from my work who I was talking to, who this is my work office as well, so they see my stuff. They're like, "Hey, you're a gamer," and he was saying that he's trying to get a PlayStation to play Ghost of Tsushima. He wants to play it on PS5, and I said, "Well, you're a PC gamer, you're in luck. Just wait a little bit, because you can't get a PS5. Wait a little bit, and you can at least get it Ghost on the PC."
From what I can tell, they haven't actually officially announced it. It's that they removed PlayStation Studios from the box art, and that's just people. This was as of 5 days ago, just somebody reporting it. I don't see an official Sony announcement. That doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. I honestly, though, if it was my opinion, I don't expect Ghost to be the next one, because they just did the director's cut on PS5, and so that still has some legs. If I was going to guess, let's see, what do I have up here? PlayStation Studios. Ratchet 2016 is not on PC. On the Uncharted collection, they actually did announce Uncharted.
Yeah,
right.
I think that was announced. That was announced already. I don't think Ratchet. I love Ratchet, but I don't think that's a big one.
So Naughty Dog is set to release the remastered bundle of 4 and the Lost Legacy. Are they not doing the first 3 on PC? That's weird.
Sucks.
Yeah. I need to look at that.
That's really
Legacy
odd.
of Thieves collection. Is that not the first 3? So that's
Legacy
also 2022. So we're talking to games. Uncharted 4 was 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
And so God of War was
2018.
2018. So that's why I don't think Ghost is going to be the next one. 2016 was Uncharted 4. Goodness gracious, it's so long ago. I wasn't even married yet when Uncharted 4 came out.
Wow.
So Ghost will inevitably come. It's a matter of when. It's been made very clear by Mr. Jim Ryan. I think that was like 2 weeks ago that we talked about, or I talked about by myself. I can't remember where. He was like, I want Sony's games to be played by tens of millions of people. It's great that it's on the PlayStation, but they're looking to expand that studio thing, and it makes sense. They want to increase their like this capitalism, baby.
It's working for Microsoft. It's working for Microsoft, whereas Microsoft's like, I don't care where you play the game. Like, just play the game. That's
Yeah,
like,
we'll give you some
subscribe.
hardware. Do you not have hardware? Okay, well,
That's
we have
cool
this box here, $500. Okay. Oh, you got
Yep.
your own hardware? That's fine.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No problem.
Go ahead.
Yep.
That's fine.
And
It's crap. Don't worry, because the Xbox app on PC is garbage.
Yep.
Game Pass on PC is absolutely awful, but you can still play it. Go ahead.
you still play
That's
it.
fine.
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for that Xbox streaming stick. That's what I'm waiting for.
I'll say that's where Sony is at least smart. Instead of trying to do it through, they do have a couple of apps, because you can play like PlayStation Now on PC, but they're doing Steam releases. That's the way to go. And I know that Game Pass doesn't work that way. Microsoft games you can buy on Steam, but you don't get your Game Pass games on Steam. And I'm waiting for them to drop that, because Game Pass on PC is not good with. I don't even begin to understand it. I think it has to do with their anti-piracy stuff that goes into
DRM.
I think that's part of it. The checks, like the little internet checks that you have to do that make games just not run as well.
I'm gonna check that out now, because I have Ultimate, so I gotta check that out and see what how it runs on my PC. Oh, speaking of Uncharted, did you see the Uncharted trailer? And
I didn't. It came out while I was gone, and I think I was like in the car or something, and then I just forgot about it until you literally just mentioned it.
Yeah, it's like the teaser here. I mean, or not teaser. This is like the behind the scenes / teaser. I mean, I don't think it looks bad. But I don't like Mark Wahlberg as Sully. Mark Wahlberg in the trailer, at least, he just sounds like the pacing, the attitude, like everything is Mark Wahlberg. It's Marky Mark, and that's fine.
Is it like Andy Samberg doing Mark Wahlberg?
It's not that bad. Hey, how's your mother? Say hi to your mother for me. No, it's not that bad.
Hey, dog, how you doing?
I love that.
It's one of my favorite SNLs.
It's not that bad, but it's like, okay, that's Mark Wahlberg as this character. It's like a little bit less Mark Wahlberg than the other guys. If you saw the other guys,
the other guys is great.
I loved the other guys, but like this character, I don't expect a Mark Wahlberg character out of Sully. Like, it just needs to be, this cynical, cynical guy who what's his face? What's wrong with me? Nathan Drake, basically learns from him, and this is kind of like when they first team up and everything. And Tom Holland isn't bad, but it is the Tom Holland American accent. So I don't know. I wish that it wasn't the two of them. I love the two of them, but I wish it was someone else, so I got something closer to the game. It's probably going to be fun, but part of me still wants Nathan Fillion in this part, because he did that. I don't know if you saw that he did that that fan movie thing.
I saw and they actually went first person on it.
Yeah.
Is Elena in the movie?
I honestly haven't looked at the IMDb, so I can't remember offhand. Double check that. But
I agree with you. Yeah, I've been watching the trailer while you've been talking, with the sound off, just to see what the visuals look like, and where's his mustache at, dude? Where's Sully's mustache? Where's the cigar?
And I know the age difference is close with Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland, but Mark Wahlberg looks really, really, really young, so it doesn't look right in comparison, even if they are. He doesn't read like.
Can Mark Wahlberg go ahead and age? That would be nice.
What is he, 40, 45, 47? I think.
Don't know. He's old. I look older than he does, though.
Yeah. Well, part of it is that he lives the no fun lifestyle. He wakes up at, I think it was 3:30 in the morning to start his workout routine and stuff. He doesn't, and one of the things contractually is that he doesn't like shoots to go past 6 p.m. So when they're shooting movies, he gets really mad if it's all right, we're doing a night shoot. It's no, I want to do it in the morning instead. He doesn't want to do a night shoot. He wants to do a 3 a.m. shoot instead of a 9 p.m. shoot. Which
Chloe Fraser is in it, but not Elena. Okay, that's interesting.
But
for those who don't know, that's one of the other characters in Uncharted. Elena is like kind of the, I don't want to. I mean, I don't know if we can spoil a 15-year-old game at this point, but
It's a
Elena's like
15-year-old game, yeah.
the love interest
Yeah.
in Uncharted, whereas Chloe Frazer, I mean, I guess she could be too. You know, it's kind of Indiana Jones-esque, where I don't actually remember if there's any history between that. But yeah, it's the looks aren't there, but like you're saying, like watching this, like visually, it doesn't look terrible.
Yeah.
It's definitely like one of those things where like maybe they're like, man, this was based off a video game. Like, is the video game any good? Like, maybe I should check out the video game. Like,
I mean, hopefully, and I'm honestly like, if I can appreciate it separate from the source material, I'm okay with that. Like, I understand that it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be a 1-to-1 like recreation of like the first Uncharted game or the first 2 Uncharted. Like, I don't need that. I don't need perfect continuity or what. If it's enjoyable, it's enjoyable. There's some. I just think that it loses out in some of the heart on that. Similarly, I watched Dune this weekend. Twice, once in theaters, once at home, and I've been watching like clips of it, and I really liked it. Just know going in, if anyone here is not familiar, this is the first half of the first book, so there's a lot of setup. It's good, but it's a lot of setup for what's going to happen. So similarly, if you went to see Infinity War, we expected Infinity War to be 2 parts. Just know going in that like the movie's going to end and you're going to be like, okay, now what? And that now what is the next part, which thankfully just got greenlit. So the movie was released on Friday, and on Monday they announced that they greenlit part 2 because Warner Brothers was basically saying, if this doesn't make enough money, we're not making a sequel. We're not going to let you film it back to back. So, we'll see how it goes. And it did well enough that they're doing a sequel. So you get more Zendaya in the sequel. She's only in a few minutes of this one. Spoilers, but don't go in with your hopes up for something that's different.
I feel like that bothers you.
It bothers me that people were mad about it. Like, even if you don't know the source material, like...
It's because it's Zendaya, bro.
Like, no, I get it, but, like, if you watch the trailer, which I'm, like, literally playing here, she's only in, like, a little bit of it, but it's enough that
5 minutes till we
like,
get flagged. We'll see.
But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if this new process worked, by the way, to mask enough that they can't flag us. But... She's only in a little bit of it because this is halfway through the book, and he doesn't meet her until like halfway through the book. So, there's only going to be a little bit. There's a lot of things they just completely glossed over. It's 2.5 hours. I think it'd be 3.5 if they actually explained more. So I went to a seat with some friends in IMAX. It was great, and then like we went to dinner, and the whole time all through dinner it was basically talking about the movie, which I don't remember the last time I've done that with a movie, where you see the movie, you stand outside the theater talking about it, like
every Star Wars movie.
It. Okay, I guess maybe every Star Wars movie. Well, last time I can't remember the last time I did it, because I guess it would have been Episode 7 was the last time.
Me and my wife always talked about the Star Wars movies like immediately, because you got to be like, so what'd you think?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta go deep. No, yeah, but then you start really like we gotta do a fight after Episode 7. Like on the way home, we were like arguing in the car.
Like, so what did you get into a fight about?
I liked Episode 7 more than she did. Like, and she took up the mantle of the normal, not the normal. I don't want to say her like complaints were unoriginal, because we saw it opening weekend, but voiced an opinion that came out several times in terms of rehashing what we've already seen with kind of Episode 4. Here's your desert planet. Here's your, and I freaking loved it. I was like, this is Star Wars, baby. Like, what do you want from me? What do you want them to do? And it's just like something original. I'm like, I don't care. It was dope.
And then they did something original, and then the fans hated it. I
didn't hate it. I didn't care for Episode 8, but I didn't hate it.
I'm in the same camp, and like I thought Solo was fine. Rogue One was better.
I do need to attempt to watch Dune before it leaves HBO Max, because I'm not going to go see it in a theater. But here's the problem: and I understand it's a very long book. It's 2.5 hours. Like,
It's 2.5 hours, and
it's
it's still not
so
enough.
long.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so, but even if it's still not enough for somebody like you, like for me to sit there, I don't
yeah,
watch hardly anything for 2.5 hours. And if I
yeah.
do, I'm not actually watching it. It's something in the background. Like I was doing some mindless work today.
Hmm.
And when I say mindless, I'm like literally copy pasting, like
Sure.
data entry, data entry, data entry, data entry. I was doing that for 6 hours. I had some stuff playing
Yep.
in the background of, and that's, and maybe I could have put on Dune then, but then I also like wouldn't appreciate it. But how hard
Can't.
it is for me to
Yeah,
sit down and watch
I know.
anything for two and a
I
half
know. I will say that this is one of those movies where, um, like a lot of Denis' work is this way. Like the director, if you watched
too
Blade Runner
long.
2049, no,
And that was too long, bro. Like,
like Blade, it was a little long in Blade Runner 2049, yeah, but like
a
this one, I
little.
don't. This one didn't feel like too long. I would say it is
You're also a
something you
fan,
need
though.
to
Didn't you
actually.
read the book? Didn't you like the book?
I've read the first book like 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
I've watched the 1984 movie like a ton, which is it's a cult classic. It's a love it or
It's
hate it kind of
bad.
thing because
Yeah.
it's so cheesy, and I love how cheesy it is. But I've read the book I think 6 or 7 times. I've watched the 1984 movie like at least 30 or 40 times.
See, if somebody could do Ender's Game right, because they did it really dirty.
Yeah,
It was awful.
yeah,
It's a terrible book, or not terrible. I love the book. It's
yeah,
my favorite book. Terrible movie.
yeah.
In terms of representative of that, and so if somebody could do that well.
That'd
But
be
like,
good.
yeah, Blade Runner
Yeah.
2049 is 2 hours and 43 minutes, and I
Yep.
wanted to die about 2 hours in.
So
I watched the original one too. Also
Yeah.
wanted to die during.
I will say, and maybe HBO Max will do this because they did it with Zack Snyder's Justice League. I would love to see Dune and Dune Part 2, like both of those, whatever they're going to call the Part 2, whatever. I'd love to see those with chapter selection because the HBO Max did that with Zack Snyder's Justice League, where you had Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4. So, like, if you needed to watch a chunk and then you need to stop, it was like very easy to be like, oh, here's a good stopping point. Okay, here's a good stopping point. Because they're in there. I think that'd be really beneficial for like you were saying, for people like you and others who are like, I don't want to watch a 2.5 hour movie. Maybe I'll start it and I'll get I'll get this the first chapter's an hour long. I'll watch the first chapter, whatever.
And I understand that there's probably some people out there that are snobbing at me. They're like, you can't watch a 2.5 hour. It's literally, it's not an attention span thing necessarily. It's a desire. Like, it's just, there are few movies like, and I have to be invested. Like, I was invested in Infinity War and Endgame. Like, that was 10 years in the making. Like, I can see big fans of the source material being like, yeah, I'm down for 2.5 hours. It's a 1,000-page book. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get that. It's just at the same time, that's where the struggle of adapting really long books to movies is tough. We see it where, not to bring up Harry Potter and they who should not be named, but like Harry Potter, we saw with number 4, for example. Number 4 was the longest book, and it was the shortest movie at the time of it coming out. They did a 1-part thing of 4 was the longest at the time, or 5. Okay. Yeah, 5 was the longest. Sorry, 5 was the longest. You're right. 5 was the longest, and it was the shortest movie.
Yeah.
So they took the longest book with a ton of lore and cool stuff in it. 5's my favorite book, by the way. And they made it the shortest movie, and it was not good. Yeah. And then what did they do? They broke up 7 into 2 parts, and
it didn't need to be 2 parts. Like,
yeah, and at that point you're like, you already committed, and then. Ever since then, it was as somebody who worked at the movie theater, Harry Potter number 7 was the inventor of the 2-part movie, because subsequently after that
Twilight,
we got Marvel, which honestly Marvel did it the best with Infinity War, and that felt like 2 different movies as opposed to like a 2-part.
It really did.
Thing in conclusion.
Tone. Yeah.
And so with
movies,
with Dune, I know that you said that you liked it. I heard from some other people like it kind of ends maybe not the best because it is like kind of halfway through the book and they didn't maybe pick like the best stopping point. I don't know if you have a criticism on that or not, but like it didn't necessarily like hit that fine line of like, here's where part 2 picks up.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I don't think it's a bad stopping point if you understand the context. But the majority of people who don't understand the context don't understand like why what just happened, like how big of a thing that the thing was. There are other, but at the same time, like if they'd stopped it at the previous like high high spot, if you will, from a wrestling terminology standpoint, like it would have been like 40 minutes less of a movie. And then it's like, okay, now what do you do with the next movie? Do you 3-hour movie for the next movie? I don't think it was a weird place to stop, but I got it. But I don't know. It had some interesting pacing on the ending. So I get that. I've heard.
You know what else has?
Yeah. What's that?
I was gonna say, you know what else has interesting pacing?
What's that?
Switch Online N64.
Yeah. What's that? Okay. So this is why. No, it's okay. We're trying to get through like the last bits of news, like before we. But
you can see we can go off on some movies too. You know, we having fun. Inside Nerd.
Easily.
Sci-fi, baby. Okay. Hold up. Before I talk NC, did you see the Cowboy Bebop trailer?
No, I've got
it's on my Facebook.
Like, saved, but yeah.
It's good. It's
good.
Not bad. Okay. It's good.
Okay, because like I've heard, people were giving, what's his name, Stephen Chow.
John Cho.
John Cho. Sorry, I remember the last.
Because he's old.
Yeah, because like he's too old to play the character. I'm like, okay, let me see.
50.
What?
He's 49. He's 49.
I had no idea. I thought he was like 44. But
44 is the new 49.
I get apparently 49 is the new 44. I figured he was like in his like early to mid 40s. But at the same time, like if he can pull off the character, okay. Like, is it going to have the right heart? And I'm saying that as someone who just trashed Marky Mark for looking young as Sully. But what's the heart of the character? Like, is the heart of the character to be like? Are they trying to make him a young teenager or just a young man?
Yeah,
because I think he can pull off young. Yeah.
Now check it out tonight or something and let me know. I was shocked. It's good. Like obviously this remains to be seen because it was the trailer, but it comes out next month. I need to watch the anime just to kind of get myself in like the headspace. I did buy that the other day for a couple bucks.
It's not bad.
But check, like, surprisingly good. Like, as much as it was getting trashed for being live action, you can't do this series live action. I'm very impressed by what I saw in the trailer.
I think we're at a point now where we can do these series like live action. It's just a question of like how much money is the studio willing to put at it?
Some money.
If you throw enough money at it, it will look good. If you don't, it looks like the Attack on Titan live action movie, and that just looks like garbage. That's why I didn't watch it. But yeah, speaking of garbage, though, the Switch 64 and the Nintendo
I'm glad
Switch,
I didn't spend my money on it, man.
Me
I know
too.
You bought the controller.
I did not. It's
been
sold out. I was going to.
Good.
I was going to. It's been sold out, and now seeing this, I'm like, I think I'm okay. I've seen some back-to-back stuff on people playing like for example, Ocarina of Time, and I didn't want to snag someone else's footage, but playing Ocarina of Time on the Nintendo 64 or the Wii U Virtual Console, and it's better. And it's better than the Switch, and that's inexcusable. I'm sorry, that's completely inexcusable for it to be better. That's not even getting into the modding community aspect of emulation. Sorry, not modding, but emulating the Nintendo 64 version of it, which honestly, the emulators are good enough now where they do it pretty well, and you can get... I've got it, like, it's actually right off screen here. I've got a Nintendo 64 USB controller. So I can play Ocarina like I did back in the day, and it looks way better than this. But I was also seeing people playing like Mario Kart and Mario Kart 64 online, and just completely stuttering and crapping out, and then giving the warning at the top saying your internet connection is bad, or your connection is bad, as opposed to giving some other type of error, which I hate. I hate when companies are like, hey, it's your problem. It's your internet connection's the bad. No,
I got fiber, bro.
It's not internet when the game is stuttering and the audio, or like the someone posted they were playing again Mario Kart. They started it and you hear the beep beep beep, and then there's
Yeah.
no music. There's no music like while they're playing. Like what is going on? This is eerie. And I think we didn't get to talk about it last week, but rumors are pretty solid on the reason for the price being as high as it is, being like the Sega licensing. From what all the rumors are saying on this, basically, in order to bring those Sega games over, they had to pay a good amount of money. They could have left it. We were expecting Game Boy, and we got this. You could have done N64 and Game Boy, and we would have paid another $20 a month, and we would have been happy. But also polish, come on.
I think the thing is like the one, N64 games don't hold up, and then two, trying to stream N64 games instead of putting them on a virtual console where they can run natively.
Yep.
When Nintendo's online is doo-doo. It's not good. I mean, we were talking about how dumb it is that I know that it's not their online service, but the fact that I had to re-download my games, I downloaded I think 30 gigs worth of games. I have good internet. I have great internet for some people. I have a good mesh system, and it took entirely too long to download games to my new Switch OLED, and so that's just the wireless card inside the Switch. And then you're trying to play an N64 game online. You're trying to play a game that already fundamentally has just its own quirks about it. And you're trying to put netcode into that. You know, that's where like Versus and SNES, where SNES and NES virtual consoles work perfectly fine. You know, there's a little bit of input lag from time to time in there, but it's not necessarily the same. But I'm glad that somebody else decided to pay that before I did. I had little interest in it because they're not taking the time to put the best versions of the game. Like, why are you not putting OT3D on there? Why are you not putting, you know, games that you've redone? Mario 64 has been redone in 3D on the 3DS, and that's the best way to play that game right now. I still have my 3DS right here. I went ahead and downloaded Ocarina 3D to play it again at some point to see if my opinion still holds true that Majora's Mask is better. I went ahead and bought a Star Fox card off of GameStop for $15 the other day. Like, just, you know, little three. Like, I'm going back and playing my N64 games.
Yeah. Well, and so as someone who I've tried to give Majora's another run a few times. What's is the best place to play it on the 3DS? Like, what's the best?
Yes.
That's
what that's what I've been told anyway. I can't do 64 anymore, and I've heard that there's enough improvement in terms of how the camera functions at least a little better. And how, you know, there's the 2-screen system for 3DS and so on. Majora's Mask, even though they made it a considerably easier game on 3DS, the game is just great. It became one of my favorite Zelda games of all time, playing it on 3DS. And again, they did make it easier. There are some people who are angry about that, but I don't care.
I gotcha. Well, I may check it out on 3DS then, because I wouldn't mind getting that anyway.
I think it's only $10 or $20 to download it. So
I hope it's
one of
10.
those.
Yeah.
I know there's other Zelda games on there that are 5 to 10. I think Link to the Past is 10. So if Link to the Past is 10, OOT is probably 20.
Probably. Well, speaking of other games that are being released and have some quality of life improvements, or could not have some, GTA Trilogy getting released next month, right? Yeah, next month. A lot of people obviously not getting that this is a remaster, not a remake, so they're complaining about the graphics. Honestly, I think it looks wonderful to upgrade some of these games if you haven't played some of those games.
I think the gameplay is going to be the bigger thing. Like, running, if you try and play GTA 3 right now, it does not hold up.
It's rough. So they've essentially modernized the control for these games. So going back and playing these games, because other people were commenting saying, well, and I'm one of those people. I'm like, I have Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice, and San Andreas, and it's playable on my PS5 right now because I got those on the PS4 digital. why would I buy this? But when I heard, okay, not only are the graphics look way better, also quality of life on the controls where it's playable. I think I'm gonna buy it. I don't know if I'm gonna buy it right off because I've got other games that I'm playing. I'm trying to limit those buying games to just throw in the backlog. But I think this is one that's gonna have to go in my collection. A definitive way to play these games that allows for the experience to still be there. For modern gaming, which is great to be able to. Man, I miss Vice City. Vice City, the soundtrack, and Vice. I would just drive around and just play that '80s soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
and GTA 3 is good too. And San Andreas, like just the customization of the cars and like weightlifting and running and stuff. Like there's a lot of cool stuff in these games. I think I'm gonna get it. I just don't know if I'm gonna get it. Like how soon I'm gonna get it. But man, the quality looks so much better.
It's a sale thing for me. Yeah. I'm interested in I played. The only one that I think I've ever actually beaten, and I don't even remember beating it anymore, was San Andreas. So I never beat 3, and I never beat Vice City. There's just not I have other things that I want to play. But whenever, because I think my initial problem with it is its price point. I think it's $60.
$60 for 3 games. Yeah.
But $60 for 3
old games.
Really old games, and so that's the.
I think $40 would have been the right price point for it. I think that they were trying to give
That's a lot better, I think, and I think that's probably the right one. I think when the Uncharted collection, just as a comparison, the Uncharted collection got remastered and put on PS4. Those were PS3 games, and so they were newer. But even when they did, I think that came out at $40.
Okay.
And so, arguably there's more hours of content probably in those Grand Theft Auto games, but still going to be a sale thing. It'll definitely be like a thing. It is coming to Switch. Nintendo is publishing on Switch now, and so think of the children, Nintendo. What are you doing? But it'll probably be a thing where I plug it into the NT Deals app and wait for that to be on sale to play it on my sweet Swoled. Because that's the place to play. As far as I'm concerned these days, remasters, remakes, all that stuff, put it on Switch, put it in that handheld on-the-go format, and it's going to be the great way to play, assuming it runs well. And if they can't make this old game run well, then there's problem.
I would hope that they can. And they did remove the Confederate flag from. There were some trailer parks, I believe, that had the Confederate flag in the games. I personally, I don't like that they did that, because this is it's very GTA to show and make fun of like everything, kind of like South Park. Like it should be unfiltered for comedic purposes. Like it's not glorifying the Confederate flag. It's like not a hero or whatever. Like
why they did it, right?
No, I didn't see why they did it. Did I miss it?
It's because they're putting it on iOS also.
Oh.
And as of 2015 or 2016, the App Store does not allow any depictions of the Confederate flag in it. So to basically be cheap, I guess, they took it out of every version. So basically they're porting one version everywhere.
Yeah.
But I'm with you that it's stupid. I think that this kind of censorship is dumb. And if you have a problem with the statues getting torn down in real life, that's one thing. I think that is a stupid thing to be upset about. Those statues shouldn't even exist in the first place.
They're modern
those kinds
statues.
Of things. But in terms of when we're talking about movie, we talk about this all the time about movies of their time that don't necessarily hold up, right?
Sure.
And we talk about things of their time that don't necessarily hold up. But I don't even know this character, but it's an 80s game. It's in the South, right? Like this game takes place in like Florida or something.
Yeah. Vice City's in basically Miami. Yeah.
So an 80s game in the South in a Confederate flag, like, makes sense to me. And I'm gonna guess that dude's probably a d-bag, right? Like he's probably not a good person sporting that shirt.
I'm pretty
and,
sure.
and
Yeah.
so there, it's those kinds of things. It's like you're clearly saying that this guy's a bad person with that kind of flag.
Yes.
Why remove it? You're doing it to bend to the will of iOS because you want to sell your games there, but why not just release a slightly different console? It's got to be just a patch, right? How long is this guy in the game? And even
I
if
don't
he's
think
a primary
I
like
think it's
quest
pretty
character,
brief.
if he's like a
The
quest giver or something like that,
change the skin on one release of it, and don't change
Yeah.
the skin everywhere else. Like, I mean, yeah, there's first of all, you know, if just look into history, I'm like, that's not even the flag of the Confederacy. First of all, second of all, like I especially the rest of the content in the game is pretty rough. Like just it's not just like, oh, there's shooting. It's like, no, the plot of like all of them is terrible in regards to morality, but that's the point.
Can I still pick up a hooker and then kill her after that?
You can
Afterwards?
do that, but you can't fly a Confederate flag. Like,
and so that's where I'm like, where's your line
where's the moral compass at this point?
That's definitely not me saying like,
No,
go censor all those other things. It's a thing of, if people, it's a game about being bad people.
Yeah.
What do you want you want them to be like slightly politically correct bad people? I have people now in 2021 that are still a product of their era, family that is still clearly stuck 20 or 30 years ago, and their family and that's where there's some interesting lines of where I can't get on board with censorship, because we're talking about things that are happening in real life. Okay, does make perfect sense. Like, yes, we don't need those stupid statues. They're dumb. It's not erasing history. I can go read a history book. But whenever you're making
banning
an
books from
artistic
the classroom, that's a different story. Yeah, that's
and
because they're doing that.
And then whenever you're making an artistic thing that represents an era and represents a particular type of character, I'm rewatching Mad Men again for the I don't know, 10th 11th time, and there's some bad stuff that gets said in Mad Men because it takes place in the 60s. It's a period piece, and there's even a couple of episodes that actually have some warnings on them because they are like bad. And the show creators just decided to go there because the character that was doing I'll just say blackface because it's not a bad thing to say blackface. It's a bad thing to do blackface. Kids don't do that. But the character that was doing it was born in the 1920s, back when is it crooner? Is that the word that I want?
Back when like the vaudeville shows and like the
he was a product of that era, and then his character in the show does that. There's a warning on that episode, and that warning makes absolute sense, but the writing also makes sense. And it's a thing of, I can see that being a case now where maybe 5-10 years later after that show launches, they don't air that episode because that happens. And that's where I'm like, where's that line where we exposing things and showing you those times is not telling you that it's right. That dude having a Confederate flag shirt is not the creator of Grand Theft Auto being like, this is okay.
And there are a lot of movies and TV shows, like I was thinking like Sopranos. Like Sopranos has some terrible things in it, but like understanding the context of the characters and everything that's going on, and it's rated. The rating should tell you like, okay, well, of course this isn't for kids.
This is a mature show.
Exactly. Same thing with Grand Theft Auto, with Mad Men. I bring up everyone brings up Blazing Saddles. I mean, I bring up The Toy with Richard Pryor. Like, there's some really great stuff that it's the right context and it still works, and there's no way that people would make it now. And then there's ones that like those are good examples in my opinion. And then you have bad examples, like there's a Looney Tunes with like Elmer Fudd and blackface. And
they don't air those anymore.
Like, they don't air them anymore. You could buy the DVD, and
it makes sense that they don't air them because that's a kids show. And so that's that line where it's
Exactly.
like, yeah, we shouldn't necessarily be teaching that to our kids yet. They're not maybe ready to be like, what? Where it's
Song of the South is not you can't stream
on,
that
it's
on
not
Disney,
on Disney
Plus.
Plus.
It's not on Disney Plus. There's a reason for that, because it's not right. That is it is glorifying, or it's not giving the right context to teach children, hey, this is bad. Anyways, we could go on and on about movies and all that kind of stuff, as you can tell, but I hope you enjoyed the show this week. Let us know in the comments what you think about that. I guess I forgot BlizzCon. FYI, I think that was the last bit of news that I guess I can really quickly mention is BlizzCon not happening. BlizzCon 2022 not happening.
This is my shocked face.
Yeah. Call it a rebuilding year. They're going to let it cool off. They're going to let it cool off. Talking about like good games about bad people. Now we're talking about bad people making good games. So maybe they need that time. They're cleaning house, or at least we think they're cleaning house. They seem to be making some good moves. Maybe they need a year off to cool that. They said it's to make games. I think it's so they don't have publicity. But anyways, let us know in the comments.
I honestly think it's because they would get visited by a
big
crowd
protest?
of people that they don't want to deal with right now. That's my personal opinion.
A little bit. Let us know in the comments what you think about that. What games are you looking forward to that are coming out next year, or are there games on your list for Black Friday? Let us know in the comments. We'll see you next time.